What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Bass Lane Podcast. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you watching. I'm really excited to get these two guys on the podcast tonight who are going to be fishing the NPFL this coming season. The NPFL is a little bit different than Major League Fishing or Bassmaster. I'm excited to hear these guys' thoughts on it and their thoughts going up into the season. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let you guys know. About a month ago, we did the fundraiser for Camden Cranfield when he got his graph stolen. But we raised about $5,000, which was incredible. I can't thank you guys enough. And I know Camden was very, very grateful. But we had about $1,500 left over. So what we're going to do with the extra money, and we're going to post a little bit about this later this week, but what we're going to do with the extra money is we pick 3 kids off the angel tree. And what that is, it's kids that might not have as much money to have a good Christmas. And we're going to take that money and get them some good gifts. We're going to go to Academy later this week and get them some really good stuff. So I just want to let you guys know where the extra money was going. That's not going to waste. It's going to go to a really good cause. But we'll go ahead and get into the rest of the podcast tonight. Please welcome Wade Werner and Isaac Peavyhouse. What's going on, fellas?
How's it going?
Good, man. How are y'all?
Good.
Great.
Just chilling.
That's right. Just chilling, man.
I know Wade's kicked back right now. He's just chilling.
That's right.
And the Christmas spirit, as always.
Absolutely. We are ready.
Oh yeah. Got my tree up. Got the Thunder Rig tree.
I like that. That's nice. Some
yeah.
holiday bling.
Oh yeah. Isaac isn't as much in the Christmas spirit, but that's okay. He's in the fishing spirit. That's a little bit better, I guess. Well, what's going on right now? I mean, it's kind of like preseason, I guess. It's like a little bit of off season right now. I mean, what's going on? Get ready for the tournaments coming up.
Myself, I got a little scouting trip coming up. Going to go down and scout around on some of the lakes we've got coming up this season.
Okay.
Never been to any of them before, so just going to take a little peek at what we got coming up. Other than that, I guess this time of year for me, I'm doing a lot of maybe wrapping up some details with sponsors, getting the boat wrap, kind of redone and ready, new jerseys ordered, all that like logistic behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, all the fun stuff.
So how does it work? So with the NPFL, how does it work? Like you said, you're going to scout, so like pre-practice, right?
Correct.
So is there a cutoff before each tournament, or is it like before the whole season, or how does it work with pre-practice?
Is it 20 days out is our cutoff?
20 days.
Yeah, 20 days before the tournament, we're completely cut off. We can't be out on the water, on the lake, up until the official tournament days. We have 3 practice days, official practice days before the tournament. The actual day before the tournament is off limits again. We're all off the water.
Gotcha.
And then we have our 3 tournament days, which there's no cuts. Everybody fishes all 3 days. Leave it all on the water.
What are the thoughts about everybody fishing every day?
I think it brings in some cool stuff at the end, I mean, if you're falling behind, it lets you swing for the fences and maybe pull some Hail Mary out.
Oh, yeah. Throw a big glide bait around all day.
That's exactly it.
Heck yeah. Is Wade a glide bait guy? Are you gliding around?
I like glide bait, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What about you, Isaac? You a big bait guy?
I got more into glide bait fishing last year, but I'm not real good at it yet. But I took a liking to it last year for sure.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely a popular thing. Like,
yeah, I got mixed opinions on everybody fishing 3 days. I guess it depends what if you're in 42nd, it'd be awesome to get another chance. But you could also be in like 35th and drop to 42nd and miss a check. I don't know.
That's true. It's definitely different.
Yeah, it's definitely depends where you're sitting at, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I guess depends on how well you do on all 3 days. But so, Isaac, are you doing any pre-practice?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go and look at the couple of days here pretty soon. Right now, I'm still fishing every weekend, whether it be Carmel or Del Holla, working on sponsors and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna try to go there. It's about 4.5 hours for me, so not too bad. But
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just working on sponsors, still fishing every weekend, and then we'll try to go there and see what it's like because I've never been to none of the lakes on the schedule. So
neither one of you have been to any of the lakes.
Not at all.
So do you think that'll help you or hurt you having no past experience? Like, I mean, sometimes it's like the home lake curse. It's like a little too much, and then it gets in your head. But like sometimes it's like, man, you want to know a little something. So is that where the pre-practice comes into play?
probably, I mean, I'd never been off Del Hollow hardly any until like the last year and a half. So everywhere I've went, I've just had to learn on the fly. And sometimes I think it helps me. These
Yeah.
you got a lot of pressure when you're fishing on your home lakes. I feel like too. So you kind of go to those places with an open mind, and I kind of like it in a way. I mean, so
yeah, I agree. I like just sometimes me and Trevor talked about this the other day. I was like, one tournament this season, we just need to go to a random lake we've never been to and just go fish and just see how we do. Because I mean, when you think about it, it's like, man, why did I catch them, Thursday before the tournament? Why did I have 15 pounds and then I only caught 3 keepers Saturday?
yeah.
And sometimes it's just like, man, I just kind of want to pull up and fish one day, What do you think, Wade? Are you excited about fishing some new lakes, or a little intimidating, or what are your thoughts?
No, I'm excited about it. I like it. Kind of balance. It levels up the playing field a little bit. The fact that we've got a tour of committed anglers that are going to fish all the waters. So there are lakes or areas of the country that might cater towards one more than the others, but kind of what goes around comes around. Amongst the schedule we have, I think you're going to find something in there that appeals or plays into your favor, maybe more than some others, and it's just kind of how you adjust on the fly to the more uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, for sure. What about information cutoff? Like, can y'all take information like all through up to the tournament, or like if you got a buddy that lives 10 minutes down the road, can be like, hey, you heard anything going on, or how does that work?
I think after January 1st, you can't talk to anybody right way.
Right. I mean, we can talk to each other as competitors. Right.
Gotcha.
But yeah, January 1st, there's a no information rule that goes into effect.
Okay. So you get, is it 4 days of practice or 3?
3.
3 days of practice.
And then 3 days of tournament.
Correct.
But the day before the first day, is it like off day, right?
Right. So it's seven consecutive days, and the one right in the middle is an off day. And they really do an awesome job. The NPFL, they do a lot of community outreach during that off day.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% familiar how that program works. I think they kind of put it out to the anglers and basically say, hey, this is the stuff we've got set up amongst the community. Who wants to partake in what? And we might be helping out at a dog shelter for all I know, but you could be at a high school talking to high school anglers or whatever. I mean, I think it's a really cool way to kind of give back to the community that you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really cool, in my opinion. I mean,
absolutely.
And you kind of get like an off day to just kind of, like chill out. You're not going from fishing day, last day of practice, straight into the tournament. I kind of we did that at Nationals this year, and I really liked the off day. I think that was definitely something really cool. And well, of course, we weren't, helping out at a dog shelter, but we had an off day, so that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever, however they want to give back to the community.
Absolutely.
I think that's really a cool way to do it.
Yeah, I think that is definitely super cool. What about fishing against some of the pros? I mean, I know there's some big names fishing the NPFL this year. Who are some of the guys you're like, oh man, I'm watching out for this guy? It's kind of scary.
Well, everybody knows you got to watch Patrick Walters. I mean, he was on fire this year.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And then there's Will Davis fishes, right?
I don't think Will's doing this.
Oh, is he not?
He's not doing NPFL. At least I haven't seen his name.
Oh, okay. I could have swore I saw his name on the list. Maybe not. What other big names are fishing the NPFL this year?
John Cox.
Cox.
Wes Logan. I can't remember. There's several of them. Buddy Gross.
Yep, yeah, I remember saying that one too. Is Bobby Lane fishing, or did I dream that?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop talking. I don't know anything about the roster.
I haven't seen his name. I know he's been kind of doing some shifting, some moving possibly, but I
Yeah.
don't know that where he decided to go, what he's doing.
Yeah, and speaking of the shifting and everything, there seems to be a lot of controversy right now between Major League Fishing and Bassmaster, and a lot of stuff getting posted about how much you're getting paid and sponsorships and stuff like that. I mean, what are y'all's thoughts about that? I mean, you're going into your first season as the National Professional Fishing League. What are your thoughts about all that? No, I wouldn't say. I guess it's kind of drama, but it's just stuff getting talked about.
I'll let Isaac take that one because I know that was a dilemma he had going on yourself.
Yeah, I actually about a month ago or so, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever I signed up for the NPFL, the same day I got a Tackle Warehouse Invitationals invite.
Oh wow.
And it was a hard decision, very hard. I stressed about it for a couple of days, but I mean, with just the way that MLF doing things right now, as far as the invitationals and the BBT side of things, I decided to go with the NPFL. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with it right now. I mean, it's in a mess.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was still a very hard decision. I'd love to fish in both, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was very fortunate to have a chance to fish too. So
yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's pretty cool. And I know Isaac, you fished most of the BFLs. Sorry, I went blank there. Most of the BFLs around, didn't you, this past season?
Yeah, I fished the mountains and then the volunteers.
Okay, I know you won several.
Yeah, I won 2 of the mountains, the one at Del Hollow and Barron, and then I qualified for the All-American through the volunteer division.
Sweet. So, what exactly is the All-American? I'm not even 100% sure.
I think it's the very end of May, and it's at Cherokee. So
okay, Cherokee.
Pretty close. I'm about 2 hours.
Okay.
I fished
there. You have been Cherokee?
Yeah, I fished a BFL in September there 2 years ago and got 3rd super tournament, and then fished a super tournament there this year and got 2nd. So if I can just move up one place this year, I'll be in good shape.
There you go.
But I've never been there this time of the year, so it'll be a different ball game, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got back from Cherokee 3 weeks ago, or maybe it might have been a month ago. I don't even remember. But Cherokee's there's a lot of water, but it's definitely different. It's kind of like Douglas in a way, but a lot different at the same time. But kind of reminds me of Cumberland, honestly.
Yeah. See, every time we've met in September, you can only have one smallmouth. So
gotcha.
It changes the game,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure May, I would say the All-American, it probably won off all smallmouth, maybe a mixed bag, but it'd be nice to be able to actually weigh them in this time, one more than one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like going to Del Hollow.
Yeah. I mean, you catch 20 pounds of browns and they don't do you no good. Just throw them back.
Exactly. Yep. It's heartbreaking. That's like really heartbreaking.
It is, but it's just a game we play, I guess.
Oh yeah. So, with the NPFL being relatively new, this is is it the 3rd year it's been running?
4th, I think.
3rd or 4th.
One of the 2, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might be 4th season.
Kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it's, fairly new circuit for the most part. It's not, 50 years like Bassmaster by any means. But what are with the entry fees and everything, like what is a realistic cost like with the NPFL compared to say the invitationals?
They're basically the same. You've got 6 tournaments in the invitationals and you got 6 in the NPFL. The NPFLs are 5,200 entry and the invitationals are 5. So you're looking at 31,200 versus 30,000 in entries. So
gotcha.
Pretty
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paying 30 what's another 1,200.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Ain't much
For
different.
Sure. Colin Burnett asked, "Do y'all shake fish off or bring them on the boat during practice?"
Depends.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't usually try to shake them. I mean,
If
I
I
might not get all rolling Martin on them and be swinging on them and showing out, but I mean, fish is a fish. Catch it, put it back, keep on rolling.
Depends where I'm at. If I'm on like a new lake and I kind of want to figure out the size, I'll catch 1 or 2 in that area and see kind of what size they are. If it's like Del Hollow or something, a lot of times I want him cast. You know.
Oh yeah.
I know really what areas the bigger ones live in here, but other places I don't. So you kind of got to catch one or two to see. So yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, for sure. I think it kind of depends on like what you're fishing too. Like it's kind of hard to shake them off on a crankbait.
Yeah. I mean, if you're flipping or something or dragging, you can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Another question for you, or a question for you, Isaac. What's the largest stringer fish you've ever weighed in at Del Hollow?
In the Del Hollow Bass Cup Classic last year, we had just a hair under 25 pounds. I think it was 24.88. So
Biggins.
yeah, a good day.
Oh, yeah. How has it been? You know, like I know, like again, talking. There's a lot of talk about sponsorships and stuff like that. Has it been a struggle to get sponsors, or have y'all spent, I'm sure you spent a ton of time, communicating back and forth with companies and, boat wraps and jerseys and all that stuff. Has it been kind of a struggle? It seems like everybody's making out like it's just terrible right now. But what are y'all's thoughts on it?
It ain't easy. I mean, the problem is anymore, you got like a million guys out there that slaps a jersey or a logo on their jersey, whether they're sponsored by them or not.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, like, why do they have to pay people if they've got 100 guys at a BFL wearing their logo for free,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
it definitely makes it harder, especially getting sponsors fishing related,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. I think building rapport over time has kind of helped, have the more genuine sponsors, as far as what I've found so far. Endemic sponsors, the hardest part with that, just like Isaac said, like everybody's already promoting them, and there's so much competition there, even amongst just the brands, everybody's got the next best favorite lure and rod and reel to use. But when like you start reaching outside of that arena into non-endemic, I mean, I think there's a place for that, and there's a place to gain some good attention for those sponsors because you got a captive audience, and now all of a sudden you're presenting something new to them that they haven't heard over and over and over. So I'm kind of testing out both waters there, trying to see which which ones apply more. I'm very grateful. I mean, Straight Up Mounts is back on board again this year. I'll be the Straight Up Mount flagship out there on the NPFL. So
there you go.
You'll probably hear that several times. Not to mention, they put a really nice contingency program on our events this year too. So,
yeah, tell us a little bit about that. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but what exactly is it?
Don't 100% quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it read something along the lines of $1,000 contingency bonus if you win an NPFL event with a straight up mount on your boat, and I think it's $500 for the highest finisher in the event with a straight up mount. So I don't know who else has them besides us two, so at least we got a dogfight between us.
There you go.
For contingency.
You have to have like both of your mounts, is that, or can you just have one?
I think just one. I think that's the main.
Because right now I just got one, so I didn't know.
If Joe's on here, he can chime in and ask a question or add to that.
Is there any other contingency programs that NPFL or I guess companies do for the NPFL? Y'all know
I'm
of?
sure there's several of them. I haven't really gotten that far into looking at them yet.
I hadn't either. We get some pretty cool discounts at some places too, but as far as contingencies, I'm not really playing a whole lot. I know Camus does one.
I got you.
I think they're like 10,000 to win, maybe, and 2,500 highest finisher, something along them lines. So they're
really
good there.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think with the price of everything, like, I mean, it's obviously not cheap. Do you think just knowing how much you're paying to go to each event and to travel and everything, do you think that's gonna play into account like how hard you're gonna work? I mean, is that gonna be in the back of your head as you're practicing for these tournaments, or is it just, man, I just want to go catch fish?
Kind of hard not to think about the money.
That's what I'm thinking.
When you get to, fishing BFLs and Toyotas, it's not that much money. But when you get to thinking $5,200 per tournament, it'd be hard not to think about it, but I try to just shelter that stuff out and just focus on fishing and fishing to the best of my ability. And if it's meant to be, it'll happen. If not, it's not. That's really all you can do at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying it right now probably easier said than done when it comes down to it. But
Oh yeah, I think it would definitely always be there in the back of your head.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think you try to make it motivation rather than pull you back, but
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely, feel good if you're catching them in practice, but probably not so great if you're not catching them. Is there anything like in particular that y'all are looking forward to, like say traveling with buddies or just one particular thing about the tournament series that you're like, wow, I'm really looking forward to this?
I think the trailer weigh-in is pretty cool. I mean, it's
The what?
the trailer weigh-in.
Oh, okay. So like you drop so do you pull your rig in front of the trailer? Okay, yeah, that's sick. I can get behind that.
It's like the closest thing to Bassmaster Classic, I guess. Like how theirs is. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. That's big for your sponsors too.
Absolutely. A lot of screen time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then if you do good enough being able to fish on live, I think that'd be pretty cool too. So
how do they do live? Is it like, do they just random pick for the first day and then the top 5 going to the second or something like that?
I would say something along those lines. Yeah, probably random, and then it'd be your top 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever they do the last 2 days.
Sweet. What about you, Wade? What are you most looking forward to?
I don't know if I get on live. I'm always kind of silly on the water anyways, so I have a feeling I have a chance of, I don't know, making a fool of myself, but I don't mind. Like, that's just me. Like, I just like having fun out on the water.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think that side of it'll be kind of fun. Isaac's right. The trailer weigh-ins are pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if they got drive-up music and all that stuff too, but I don't know.
Like a walk-up song?
Like a walk-up song? How cool would that be?
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nothing beats Jeff Gustafson's classic song. I mean, that was pretty tough.
What did he do?
It was Metallica. It was Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I was there. I remember seeing it. I was just like,
Oh yeah. There were some goofy songs. You could definitely tell. I was just dang. Craig took my question. He said, "What was y'all's walk-up song be?"
Oh
gosh, I don't even know. I'd have to think about it.
we might have to do like a poll on that. Like, hey, y'all name a walk-up song.
Yeah.
Which one?
What?
What did you say? Which one?
I don't know.
Oh, you have a recommendation?
Oh, I don't know. Would it be like we'll like broaden the question. Would it be like a country song or like a rock song or like a rap song? I really can't see Wade listening to rap. I just can't.
Probably like rock or maybe some kind of rap.
Yeah.
I'd probably be country or maybe some kind of rock.
Yeah. I just have a hard time like rolling up to weigh in with 25 pounds and like Morgan Wallen's jamming in the back. I just feel like it's not like the coolest thing in the world, I feel like there's just better options out there.
Hey, I did have a cool music moment this year though. We went up and fished the Straight Up Mounts Invitational on Lake St. Clair.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law went and fished it with me. And we're out on St. Clair and they're, kind of telling us about the lake. And they're like, from anywhere on the lake, you can see the 9 Mile Tower over there on the Detroit side. So we went and fished out in front of it, and I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, we're right in front of 8 Mile Road. I was like, our trip wouldn't be complete without listening to some Eminem out here in front of 8 Mile.
8 Mile Road.
Okay. We had some Eminem jamming in the boat.
There you go. That's what's up. 8 Mile Road with some 8 Mile. Craig asked what would my walk-up song be, and I would definitely have to think about it. Oh, I know. It's A Long Way to the Top, no doubt. That would definitely be my dad's favorite too. I think it's AC/DC. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Anthony Scott said Isaac Peebyhouse got a haircut finally.
I did need one.
Is there I know there used to be one for Bassmaster, but is there like a dress code, like a stage dress code? Like I know you used to couldn't wear shorts on the Elite Series.
I had heard of one, but
Aside from we have to display the logo. I know that on our chest. We
Okay.
have to have the NPFL logo.
That's
But other
pretty
than
like all around though. That's like universal for most trails, I think.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've seen.
I got you.
I mean, I'm sure like we can't roll up there in, like a suit and tie. That would be kind of odd, but
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna be spiffy, you might as well.
that would
Like
be pretty sharp.
yeah. I mean, I said it right before. Just get like a Thunder Rocket, like a Blazer, just like front and back. I could your name on last
I
name
don't
on
know.
the back.
That challenge might be accepted.
If you're top 10 going into the third day, you got to get a Blazer. You got to.
Then the walk-up song is definitely "Sharp Dressed Man." We're going all in on ZZ Top.
There you go. I skipped JJ's question on accident. Looking at the 2024 NPFL schedule, what event are you looking the most forward to? Definitely some great fisheries.
I would say, like I said, I ain't never fished none of them, but probably Logan Martin or Hartwell. I don't know. Hartwell seems like it'd be really fun to me. I love fishing spotted bass fisheries, so I think whether I do good there or not, I think it'd be fun anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Probably one of those two.
Yeah. What about you?
Bay. I mean, I reckon
Saginaw Bay.
Yeah, Saginaw Bay and St. John's, I think, are going to be. I say this now, I'm probably jinxing myself. They're probably going to feel more like the water I grew up fishing in Wisconsin. And I said that every time I go to Florida and fish, is that tannic, fertile water in Florida has a lot of similarities to the water up in Wisconsin, the natural lake. And of course, Saginaw Bay is, another cookie cutter like Sturgeon Bay and all the other great smallmouth waters that are up there.
Yep. So Wade, you grew up on the Mississippi River, right?
No, I was more over in the Green Bay area, like
Okay.
Lake Michigan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I got that. I'm just all over the place.
Well, I mean, they're all kind of connected,
Yeah, for sure. So what was like your home lake considered?
Probably the Lake Winnebago chain.
Okay.
If anybody's ever gone up or looked up where Mercury Marine is, Mercury's on the south shore of Lake Winnebago.
Okay.
So
like Mercury Motors?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know
Down
that.
in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And on the north shore is Appleton. That's where I grew up. That's where I graduated from.
Gotcha.
So I spent a lot of time on that lake, or that whole chain. You got the Wolf River, Fox River chain. It all comes together through there.
Okay. What about you, Isaac? Where did you grow up at? I know it had to be somewhere close with your accent. It had to be somewhere close.
Yeah. I was born and raised in Jamestown, which is just like 40, 45 minutes from Del Hollow. I actually live in Byrdstown now, so I can beat about any ramp in 15, 20 minutes here.
Sweet.
And I just live right inside the Kentucky line, so I can beat up the ramps around the dam at Cumberland in 20 to 25 minutes. So.
Oh man, so you're right there.
Yeah. I've never fished Cumberland this time of the year till that big classic down there a few weeks ago. I've been twice in the spring, but it's pretty fun lake. I mean, it ain't like Del Hollow, but it's something different,
Absolutely. We had a couple high school opens there 3 or 4 years ago, and I actually really liked it. It seemed like a pretty solid lake. Definitely reminded me of Del Hollow in a way.
Yeah. Worst thing about it, we've been taking off out of Conley every weekend, and I'm burning, if not a full tank, well over 3/4 every weekend. That lake is huge. I mean, it is huge.
It is a big old lake.
Yeah.
Hartwell's a big lake too. That's a little bit of a scary place. Lots of little fingers and arms and all kinds of places that fish can hide. But I think Hartwell would definitely be a fun one. When is that one actually?
Mid-May.
Mid-May. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, the lake's Lanier, I kind of wish we was going there. That place must be unreal.
Where?
Lanier.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw actually one of the guys I had on the podcast last week. I think they had like 22 pounds and got like 5th spotted bass, which is insane to me. It's crazy, and I think like the only really like real difference between Hartwell and Lanier is like the Giants and Hartwell are largemouth, while the Giants and Lanier are all spots. But I'd say either one is definitely going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Which tournament are y'all the most like kind of iffy about? Like this might not really suit my style, or I'm not really like having high hopes for this one, or just kind of like a little scared, mixed emotions.
Probably St. John's for me. I've never fished none of them Florida lakes, and I've never been up north either. But I feel like my style of fishing, I can probably adapt to the up north lakes. But if I had to pick one, I mean, I may do well there too. I don't know, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say St. John's.
St. John's.
That's a long way to drive to pre-practice, so that'd probably be out of the question. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
7 hours from my house or something. So
gotcha. What about you, Wade? Which one are
I
you
don't
most
know.
iffy about?
I'm still probably iffy on Pickwick. I still haven't found a sweet spot for Tennessee River for myself. And there's just so much variable there. Like those fish are constantly changing.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
I think that one's going to be a possible bang or bust kind of thing, but you never know.
Oh yeah.
If it's your
Is
day, it's
there?
your day.
That's right. That's right. Um, is there any like intimidation things like oh man, I'm fishing a big trail, or is it just kind of like just go with the flow, just kind of just easing into it,
go with the flow.
go with the flow?
Yeah, can't worry about who you're fishing against or who you're not. All you control is what you do. So
That's right. Brandon Pollock says it the best. He says control the controllables. It's like, and
yep,
it's I think a good way to think about it. It's like it's you versus the fish, not you versus John Cox. It's not just about competing against other people. You're competing against the fish.
yeah, you can't think about it that way. You'll just hurt yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Wade, we gotta talk about it.
All right.
So tell us a little bit about the hat you're wearing. Thunder Rocket Lures. Just give us a background story. Just tell us all about it.
Uh, Short story on Thunder Rocket Lures. I got the idea many, many years ago. Um, Fast forward, about 2 years ago now, I was actually doing some prototype work for Bass Reaper for soft plastics. And our prototype mold guy, I was talking to him and I was like, hey, if you can make a 2-piece mold that we can inject plastic into, can you make this like torpedo shape, this thunder rocket? And within 15 minutes, he printed one, 3D printed one for me. And I'm like, exactly. And the very first prototype was put together. And on the first cast with it, in front of the boat ramp in Flipper's pocket, I catch a 30-pound striper.
Really?
And it was just, I don't know that it was necessarily the fact that it was a 30-pound striper or that I caught a fish. It was just the fact that it was like 10 years of like culmination of ideas that all in one moment, it all came together. And I was like, okay, this has been in the back of my mind and it worked. Um, and then from there, I came home. I told my wife, I said, I'm selling my boat. She thought I was crazy. I said, I need seed money to start a lure company. And I did. I sold the boat. I went boatless. I was the fisherman who was boatless for like 6 months. And I started Thunder Rocket Lures, went through the process, getting patents rolling, getting some product rolling, went and did iCast, all the cool stuff. And we released the product late last year, beginning of this year. And it's been pretty cool. I mean, we've put a lot of product out there. I've had a lot of luck. My guide trips over on Percy Priest. Guests
Yep.
really love throwing it because it's something new and different. And they see it and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Thunder Rock." And they pick it up, start throwing it. Next thing you know, they're like, "Woohoo! I got one back here."
Heck yeah.
So it's cool to see that like excitement for fishing passed on, to others.
Oh
And
yeah. And it's gotta be like I don't really know the word. I guess like accomplished. Like I thought of this, and then I went through the process of making it, and now fish are biting it.
yeah, it's cool, and it's cool that it's. And this is nothing against anybody else in the industry, but it's cool that I was able to do it with something that's like not necessarily like a soft plastic.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against soft plastics because there's some really ingenious ideas out there with soft plastics. And I do some design of soft plastics for Bass Reaper as well. But it's so hard to necessarily reinvent the wheel with hard baits. I mean, I think the last time that really, really happened was probably when a chatterbait was put together, a bladed jig.
Yeah,
but it's just a different marketplace to create something new.
absolutely. It's like how do I make a crankbait better than it already is? It's like what could I do different?
Right.
But like you basically just not even reinvented something. You just invented something. Um, it's kind of like I guess the closest thing would be like a spinnerbait blade. The only thing I could think of, which is
Yeah.
not even really similar, but I guess kind of close. But
Like, I mean, I don't have like I guess a schooled education as an engineer. That's not
yeah,
really my background training, but I'm general contractor by trade, so I do see things from a mechanical standpoint. And my goal was to try to create a true rattling spinner blade. There's been attempts in the past and other kind of, I guess, feeble attempts at it. But once you get, yeah, there you go. Once you
got it
get
over
a
there.
right
Now you can kind of see it better.
there, it is. Once you get a spinner blade moving, there's a lot of centrifugal force that comes into play. So if there's BBs or anything inside of it, it really kind of holds them into one side and doesn't do
Yeah,
anything. So I had to try to keep a centralized axis rotating with a tumbler so it keeps the BBs kicking around inside of it. And it does what it says. It makes a lot of noise. Being able to add it to an A rig was kind of a cool deal, the Thunder rig.
yeah,
I mean, especially if you fish anything that's got color to it.
for
I
sure.
tell everybody, like I've got a flashy rig and I've got the Thunder rig, and I've got both of them because you can throw the same or each rig at the same fish and they'll react differently to both. So
Absolutely.
with Old Hickory right here, having that little extra sound always helps with that dirty water.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely not the cleanest water.
Right.
Um, Parker Bilbrey asks, "What is y'all's thoughts on all the live scope drama?" Tread lightly.
Go ahead, Wade.
Well, I know this is a big part of your style of fishing there, and for me, I mean, I've incorporated into kind of a hybrid. I mean, I'm not a bank beater, professed bank beater. I'm not a real deep guy. I'm more of I would call it mid-range trash fisherman. So
Mid-range trash fisherman.
I'm a mid-range trash fisherman. I'm gonna get a hat that says that.
Dude, that's a t-shirt right there.
That's a T-shirt or something in the making. But I think I try to hit that stuff in between that everybody's kind of overlooking, and I use the scope for that. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I think that I could go into a long dissertation. I've written some big replies to some of these discussions, and I honestly think that the way that people are opposed to the like media coverage and the filming and like having a cameraman staring at the back of a fisherman who's staring at their screen for hours on end. I don't think that has as much to do with the scope itself and the usage of it. I think that has to do with the production. And I'm a little bit older. I'm kind of old school. I remember the old Bob Cobb Bassmaster days, and when you had a third party point of view watching a fisherman actually catch fish, putting them in the boat, and it was edited down where you saw the action from third party, there was a different atmosphere than that live staring at the back of their head all day.
Right.
So I think the production has changed more than the actual fishing has.
Okay. Makes sense. I could definitely. I've never heard every single podcast I've done, somebody asked this question. And I've never heard anybody think about it from that point of view. And I really like that. What are your thoughts, Isaac?
I mean, obviously, it's something. It's my style of fishing. To me, fishing's going to evolve. Fishing's evolving, and
Absolutely.
you either evolve and get with the times, you get left behind. Whether that be live scope or, I mean, who knows? 3 or 4 years, live scope may not even be the thing.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, to me, it's kind of like when the A rig came out. It's like everybody was like, ban the A rig, ban the A rig. But then it's like, it just kind of faded. It's just another bait and everybody has it.
yeah, it's just like side scan and down scan. When that first come out, like somebody like Kevin Van Dam was one of the first ones to really get it. and he dominated.
Yep.
And it's no different than that. It's you got some guys that caught onto it earlier and have won a lot, but to me, it's not the end all be all. People think you get a live scope and the fish just jump in your boat, or every fish you throw at just bites. And that's the furthest thing from it I've ever seen. But my biggest thing with it,
Yep.
you can take it, whether you're fishing shallow, deep, whatever, and you can learn them fish behavior.
Yeah.
Everything that you heard or read in the fishing handbook, for years, live scope proved to be a lie.
Yeah.
It really has. It's to me, it's just an awesome tool, and whether you use it to your advantage or not that's on you.
I agree.
Obviously, I love it. I
Yeah.
caught on a little earlier than a lot of people, and it's really helped me out. But if they took it away, whatever it is, what it is. But to me, you just either learn it or you don't get left behind. There's times that play. There's a lot of places it won't play, but there's a lot of places it will play too. So
For sure. Talking about fish behavior, we were on Nicky Jack today, and I found a giant school of catfish. I mean, this school probably had 300-400 catfish in it. They were sitting in this little current break, and I was looking at them with live scope. And every time I pointed my live scope at them, they would move in another direction, and they would just run from the live scope. It's like every catfish that's ever got pinged by sonar schooled up and were just running from it. And every time I threw a bait on them, they would run from it. And it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like 200 or 300 fish just swimming away from everything I threw at them. But it's just like, why are they doing that? And same thing. I know that's not related to bass, but it's like just seeing how a fish reacts under the water, and you can just learn so much about how a fish reacts to say a Thunder Rocket rig versus a regular A rig with only blades on it. You can definitely learn a lot, and I definitely agree with both of y'all. I think it's just another tool, and you got to learn it, or like Isaac said, you just kind of get left behind a little bit.
Yeah, these fish are getting so much smarter with it too.
Yeah,
like Holla especially, man. Them fish get within 20 foot of the boat from it. It's a miracle to catch one.
Yeah.
When I first started, 2.5, 3 years ago, I think you could throw a hot dog in a lot of those schools and caught one. But now throwing a group of 50 or 60, and if you get one, that's about all you're lucky to get. And
right.
I remember back in the day when we was, I was a little kid fishing my dad's stuff. This one, Del Holla, had a lot of bigger spots then, and we'd jig a spoon on 2D. And I couldn't imagine how to fish for 2D for those fish anymore. It'd be a miracle to catch them.
Yep.
It's not easy. It definitely ain't easy like people think.
Yeah. It's
art to it.
Oh yeah. I think it's like anything else. People have a way that they flip boat docks, or they flip a tree, and what they use. You kind of have to dial it in just like any other thing that you would do.
Yep.
It's just kind of weird because you're watching the fish swim after it. You can't really do that when you're flipping a dock. Or I guess you can now, but used to you couldn't. But Anthony Scott said, if you're not scoping, you're hoping.
Right.
I missed a question. What's the go-to boat snack? Are we like going full turkey and cheese foot long sub, or are we going like a thing of crackers, or what? You got to have a good boat snack.
Beef jerky.
Beef jerky, solid. It's just so expensive.
It is. Expensive. Yeah, you get like a foot long beef stick, and it's like $4.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's easy to eat while you're running. Most time I don't even eat while I fish, but if I do, it's something quick like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a good sub where I just gnaw on a little bit, throw it back in the cooler. But the last 2 years, I have found baby carrots are my boat snack of choice.
Baby carrots.
I can throw a bag in the cooler, and they stay good for a while. Carrots don't go bad that easy. So I just reach there, grab a few while I'm running somewhere, and munch on them. And it's just something to chew on, I guess.
Yeah. Never heard anybody eat baby carrots. But I will say, my dad, he was on some diet like 2 or 3 years ago, and he had these little like the little mandarin oranges that come in those little cups with the little plastic lid. This dude was eating green bean orange cups, like literal green beans, and I almost threw up every time he opened them up. So carrots are definitely better than green beans. Hey, Mr. Tony, thanks for watching. How's it going, buddy? Mr. Tony Kelch, who just said howdy Presley, owns a. So if y'all are ever at Chickamauga, you got to go check him out. He owns. It's like the self dispense ice things. Like you go up and you pay, you pull up, you pay, and it dumps the ice out for you.
Yeah.
So if you're ever at Chickamauga, Dayton, you got to go stop by Tony's Ice House. He's got the ice. I had to get a little plug in there. That's my dude right there. I love that guy. So how many tournaments are on the schedule? Is it 6 or 6?
6, and then a championship if you qualify.
Gotcha. Are they? So is it one? So there's one in January or no? Is it February?
Basically, February 1st is the first day of competition.
And then when does the season technically end? Like the last tournament?
In the October, sometime around there.
So they're pretty spread out.
Yeah, I think they try to base it off like 2 in spring, 2 in summer, 2 in fall, which is nice. You know, you ain't caked in there, and you can fish other tournaments and.
Yeah, for sure. So, being the tournament spread out like that, will you still, of course, I'm pretty sure you both have normal jobs, right? So will you keep doing the same things just in between the tournaments?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
what
I'll have a full workload, just working and then fishing local stuff, doing some guide trips, things like that. Just keeping my chops up.
Sweet.
I'm gonna try to fish the Central Toyotas again, and then probably the Mountain Division BFLs.
Okay. So. Do any of them conflict with the NPFLs?
No, that's another thing. The NPFL over the Invitationals. The Invitationals conflicted with a lot of the other stuff I wanted to fish as well. So
I gotcha. You're welcome, Mr. Tony. So do any of y'all's, or sorry, Isaac, did you fish in college or did you fish high school? Or how did you we kind of talked about Wade coming up fishing, but how did you get started fishing?
I've always fished ever since I was ever since I could walk, I guess. I'd go and fish with my dad. But no, I didn't. Me and a buddy from my high school is kind of the one that got it started at our high school, but we never ended up fishing much. I was big into competition hunting dogs then.
Really?
So from basically October every year to end of March. So I missed most of the high school deals then. If it wasn't near as big as what it is now for you guys.
Right. Yeah.
But and I just I quit doing the competition side of things about 2 years ago, and I started fishing BFLs about a year and a half ago. BFLs, and then last year I fished the Toyota. So pretty new to all of it. I mean, I've never been off Dale Hollow really, like I said, until about a year and a half ago. But it's fun going around learning these new lakes, and still got a lot to learn. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Very fortunate. So.
Oh yeah. So high school was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you weren't, what is competition? What did you say?
Competition hunting with dogs.
So like raccoons or
raccoon, squirrel. I done mostly squirrel, but it's like fishing. It's big time. I
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, of course I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know they had tournaments for it.
Oh yeah, I used to every weekend from October into March. I was going somewhere out of state, about every weekend. Yeah.
Tell us how do you get judged on a competition dog hunt?
It's hard.
Right now.
But basically, you'll get drawn out. Say there's 27 dogs and handlers, which I'd be considered a handler, and they'll divide them up in 3-dog casts. So that puts you in 9 3-dog casts, and then each winner from each cast goes on to the next round, and there'll be 3 dogs, and then you'll have a 3-dog final. But I mean, there is tons of rules and stuff like that in between. It's pretty wild, really. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I knew treeing a coon or anything is of course a thing, but I did not know there was tournaments for it. That's pretty cool.
It's big money too. I mean, you like the coon hunt stuff. There's truck hunts to win trucks, $100,000 hunts, first place, stuff like that all the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's about like fishing. I mean, it's got really, really big.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
So,
I guess are they all at night?
The coon hunts are, yeah, the squirrel hunts are in the day.
Okay, I gotcha. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. What about with everything, like fishing and everything right now is kind of crazy with everything with prices and gas prices and the price of a boat, the price of a truck and everything just right now. What do you see having to change to keep the sport of fishing growing and, keep it in like, I guess, kind of good terms? Like, seems like there's a lot of drama right now, like we talked about earlier. Like, what do you think has to change to keep everything kind of stable and kind of going in the right direction? And how do you think NPFL is doing a great job of kind of keeping that balance?
Mm,
That was a long question.
that was a big question.
Big question.
Um, I think to keep the entry levels of the sport in check, they're going to have to find a peaceful solution to the co-angler discrepancies. Obviously, that's coinciding with like the live scope, and I get it. I think some of that comes from the confines and the interpretation of rules of, well, you stay in the back, I stay up front, and you're not privy to anything on this end. I mean, some of it comes down to, everybody working together and finding a peaceful plan to make that work. I mean, I've had the conversation with other co-anglers and guys out of the back of my boat, and it's a mixed emotion. Some of them are a little taken by it. Some of them are going away from it. So as they disappear, then it becomes more boater on boater draw type tournaments. It's slowly kind of, it's just slowly eating down, away at the tournaments, and you're starting to like lose interest because of that.
Gotcha.
I think on the higher end, you have to still keep it about the anglers. You have to keep the I guess the cost to winning potential there. You got to keep the purses deep enough. You got to keep them, widespread enough. Because there's a lot of money invested. I mean, our events, by the time we got entry fees, travel costs, everything else, we're probably, $7, $8, $9,000 deep into going to one of these events. If the top third of the field is getting paid, it's got to be at least enough to,
Reimburse what you put into it.
reimburse or make it worth your while.
Right. Yeah. Um, what do you think separates NPFL from say Bassmaster or Major League Fishing? Or Isaac, what really made you pick the NPFL over the invitationals?
I don't know, man. It was a hard choice. I feel like the NPFL has really grown, especially over the last year.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
I just remember. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That's my bad.
you're good. I just knew that I could, if I do well enough again, the Toyotas, I could always get back in the invitationals. But if I didn't get my foot in the door this year and the NPFL grows like I think it will, I may never get the opportunity to get back in. And it might not. It may not get a lot bigger, but I feel like it will, especially with the way MLF's heading right now. I'm not saying they won't straighten it up and fix it, but that was one of the biggest decisions for me. Is just I may never get the opportunity to get back in after this year, and I can always get back in the invitationals. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Was fishing on a level as high as this one, was that always in the game plan, or was it just kind of like a window of opportunity type deal?
no, I've always wanted to. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, my dream was to fish professionally. Uh, but hunting and stuff kind of got in the way of it for several years. I mean, you know, like what you're doing right now with high school and traveling around to all those lakes and getting to see and experience that stuff. That's awesome. I mean, you're getting a lot of experience that like I didn't get that I wish I would have got while I was younger. So I missed out on a lot of stuff like that for sure. But
Yeah,
that's the high school and the college deals. It's pretty awesome for younger people like you that's coming up and doing it.
absolutely.
It's a big
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, no doubt. What about you, Wade? Was professional fishing kind of always in in the game plan, or
You know, when I was younger, I was big into golf. Golf was my
golf?
thing.
Okay.
And then when I realized I could win more than just trophies by fishing tournaments, I was introduced to it. And then we didn't have anything like high school, college, none of that stuff existed. Um, I was like 12 years old. They kind of bent the rules a little bit to let me fish a draw tournament series, the Midwest Bass Association. And they allowed me, because I was always there at the tournaments with my dad, they allowed me, as long as I got my boater's safety and it made me legal to operate a boat in case of emergency, I could fish as a co-angler. And that's where it
Okay.
started. And I won my first tournament by the end of that first year, and I was just kind of like hooked right there. And post high school, I mean, that's all I did. I mean, literally all the way through high school, my nickname was Bassmaster. Like nowadays, you'd be like, oh, everybody bass fishes. But back then, like that was like, especially in Wisconsin, it's all muskie and walleye fishermen. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it meant something, I guess. And then I went in the Marine Corps and I chased around a dream of playing country music, which brought me to Nashville, and I did all that good stuff. And then I just gave all my dreams up for myself, and I put myself all into my kids, and I was all in. I was coach dad, I was coaching baseball, I was doing all that kind of cool stuff. And I honestly hung up my fishing dreams about 7 years ago now. My dad passed away, and he was the guy that I always fished with. I mean, we were fishing buddies, best friends, and I hung it up for well over a year. And it was a friend of mine that finally talked me into going out fishing. As much as I thought it was going to like hurt to go out there on the water without dad by my side, I got out on the water and I realized that like that was where I was closest with him. And from that, I mean, literally from that one first day on the water, and it was a miserable day of fishing, but that's all it took, because the time I spent out there, I was like, this is where I need to be. And it's just been a constant build up back to the level of where we were at before.
Heck yeah. I do. That's awesome.
So
But I gotta rewind a little bit. Did you say you came to Nashville because you wanted to pursue country music?
I did. I played downtown. I played the stages of Broadway for about 4 years.
Really?
So
How did I not know that? I've known you for like 4 years.
once
I mean,
upon a time.
he can just make his own walkout song.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Oh,
go. I gotta find a video of this. Somebody's got
oh,
one somewhere.
there's probably videos out there, I'm sure.
Man, how did you get into, was it country music, I guess?
Yeah,
How
I
does
don't
that
know.
come about?
I picked up a guitar and started learning how to play and started writing songs. It was just something to do to pass the time while I was in the Corps.
Okay.
And I, I, I got out. I went back to Wisconsin, and of course, I like became somebody because I was doing music, and country music was all the rage. So when I thought I was somebody in country music in Wisconsin, then I came to Nashville and I found out I was nobody. I was just some dude with a guitar and singing. So I mean, I got to play a lot of cool stages, got to meet a lot of cool people, and do a lot of cool things. But it wasn't a hard one to hang up when it was time. It was just like, all right, I couldn't see myself putting myself through the rigors that they do. I mean, they might have all the fame and fortune and all that good stuff, but boy, that's a rough lifestyle right there on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not as cool as catching bass all the time.
Right.
Uh, got a couple questions. Aaron Monroe asks, "What's your go-to research topic when preparing for out-of-state tournaments, like Google Earth, YouTube, etc.?"
Mine would be Humminbird app or Navionics, and definitely YouTube. I mean, you can learn a lot of stuff off YouTube now, and then Google Earth. So
I guess YouTube wouldn't count for the no information rule.
no, I don't think it
Uh,
can.
Okay, I wouldn't think so.
Publicly transmitted information is okay. So yeah,
I
I
got
mean,
you.
YouTube's a good one. I don't get caught up in like trying to figure out like, ooh, look at that A-frame house in the background. Like, I don't get caught up in all that. I just like to see kind of just the general synopsis of, the seasonal changes. What are
Yeah,
they, what are they typically doing around this time of year?
It's always good to have a little piece of information going into a tournament. I mean, you don't have to have waypoints, but just a little something to get the ball rolling.
That's it. Just to have an idea.
Yeah. What is your best co-angler story? Like you're a boater and you have a crazy co-angler. What's the co-angler story here? Craig asked.
Oh, crazy co-angler story.
Or maybe not crazy. Just
I don't know. I don't know that this is crazy, but Daniel Cheshire, he shows up at Center Hill and he walks to the boat. His dad, he came to just pre-fish with his dad and just hang out with him for the week. And apparently they needed co-anglers, so his dad just said, "Hey, I'll pay for you, go fish." So he shows up to my boat with like 2 rods in his hand and a Walmart sack with like his snacks and some baits in it. And I was like, all right, this will be cool. And mind you, I'm already on a borrowed boat because my boat's in the shop. And then the borrowed boat I borrowed ended up having some engine trouble. So we're like stuck basically at the ramp there at Raglan Bottoms.
Oh man.
And we hung out and fished right around that area. And he ended up winning the tournament.
Really?
Like, he literally, it was a shad spawn. He didn't have anything really like fishing. He didn't have like spinner baits or walking baits or anything. So he just starts throwing a frog in the middle of the river out there and just letting it sit, pops it every once in a while. Next thing you know, he's got like back-to-back 4-pounders in the boat. And I'm like, what in the world's this guy doing? So that was probably the wildest one. Having a motor go down at takeoff, fishing at takeoff, and dude shows up with 2 rods and a Walmart sack. So it just goes to show you, it don't take all the bells and whistles to win a tournament.
Yeah, you definitely don't have live scope on the back deck.
No.
What about you, Isaac? What's your best co-angler story?
I don't really have no crazy ones. Fortunately I've always had good co-anglers, but I've had one guy win a BFL with me, and then another guy win the Toyota Series at Del Hollow with me 2 years ago. We both started out the final day in 5th, and he ended up winning it on the bait I gave him. And
Heck yeah.
it was it's a pretty cool deal. He still got that bait to this day. It's one of my kind of secret deals there, so it's pretty special. But we've become good buddies and everything since then. But I back kind of the co-angler thing. I get it. I'd hate to be that was when scoping blew up on Del Hollow then. So I would hate to be stuck with her, but I always turn like one of my back units on my scope and then the other one on, sonar down. And I tell them guys, look, when I get one on or whatever, if it ain't giant, throw behind me, or when I flip in the boat, drop down because there's going to be a pile of them under me. That's how he did. He caught all of them just dropping right down after I caught one, and we both probably caught 30, 40 fish.
That's awesome.
So it was awesome. Pretty cool.
Kind of another piece to the question. What is your best story as a co-angler? If you've been a co-angler.
Oh, yeah. Best co-angler story as a co-angler.
Isaac, have you ever been a co-angler?
No, I started out fishing as a boater.
Okay. What about like your best story just going fishing with a buddy?
And I don't even know. There's a bunch of them. I can't even just think of one that.
Yeah. Probably my best. As a co-angler, going back on that co-angler story, I think my best stories were probably back when I was a kid and I first got into tournament fishing. And the very first tournament I won as a co-angler at like 12 years old was probably one that stands out because I got kind of an unfortunate draw. The gentleman that I got drawn with wasn't the most desired boater in the world, and there was some confusion at the ramp beforehand, and my dad had some words with him, and it was one of those days that just started like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
And the dude wasn't feeling so hot. He had went out all night, so he just drove us around the corner from takeoff and pulled up in front of like a swim area. And I'm like, dude, just a sand beach? He's like, or just to stay here all day. And I picked up a spinner bait, slow rolled it out of some grass, and ended up catching a limit of fish, ended up winning the tournament. So I made the most of the day. But I think just the way it all started, the way it all went down, and being the first one that I, got like an individual win on.
Yeah.
Probably like the most memorable for me.
That's a pretty solid story though. Like just so was it a swimming area or was it just like sandy?
I mean, it wasn't actual like up in like Wisconsin, up northern lakes, those natural lakes. I mean, they're just big bowls. They're all sand filled bowls, and they get grass growing everywhere. Well, the beach areas, a lot of times they'll either drag the beaches and pull the grass out of there, so you got a sand bottom, and then they got buoys around it. Similar to the swim area back in like Cedar Creek over on
Okay.
Old Hickory.
Yeah.
And so it was just buoyed off. But it was a late, like September tournament, so it was later in the year where people weren't really out there swimming at that time.
Yeah.
But it was just a line of muskie fishermen behind us fishing the deeper weed line, and we were just stuck fishing or I was stuck fishing right there. I don't even know if the guy fished that much. He just kind of held me right there, and I just kept fishing the edge of that sand to grass transition along the swim area. So
So you're telling me if I go to the beach, I'll catch a fish.
there you go.
Sweet.
Catch them fish on the beach.
John Austin Short said the Wade Warner, and then he said he better get a shout out for fishing with a buddy.
There you go. He got the shout out. John Austin was the one who put me back on the water for the first time.
He was the one.
He was the one.
Okay.
So definitely a big shout out to John Austin right there. He needs to get a bass boat and get back out fishing is what he needs to do.
That's what it sounds like.
Right?
That's awesome, dude. Cody Campbell asked, Isaac, what made you quit hunting and go full-time fishing?
I mean, a lot of it was I got married the year I quit, and hunting was I was gone even more than I was fishing. Like I said, from October to the end of March, everywhere I was gone every single weekend. And I loved it, but I knew that would be a lot, especially just getting married. But I've always wanted to pursue the fishing side of things. I was fortunate to accomplish a lot in the hunting world, so I wanted to try the fishing deal, and so far I don't regret it at all.
Sweet. Anthony Scott said, yes, we need Wade to write and play us an intro song for Tennessee Bass Nation.
Maybe we can work on something.
Oh, yeah. Do you still remember how to play?
Oh, yeah. I've got guitars hanging on the wall, and we sit and pick and play and whatnot.
Sweet. That's awesome. Okay. I asked everybody this question, and you both have to answer. What is your go-to bait? You have one bait. You're going to take it to every single lake, and you're going to throw it. And you're going to have confidence that you're going to catch a fish on it. What is it? I think I know Wade's.
You think you do?
I think I do.
I don't know. I'm going to go with that mortal creature I just designed for Bass Reaper.
Okay.
It's super universal. You can fish and cover a lot of water with it. Not take anything away from a Thunder Rocket, but I can cover a lot of water with that.
How are you rigging it? The go-to
rig? I mean, I would probably say a Texas rig. I mean, that's going to be the most universal. But I mean, legit, it can be fished a million different ways. I usually have one Texas rig on a jig as a trailer and on a Carolina rig. So
is that the one where you could pinch it off and then it turns into a that's a good one. That's a good one. What about you, Isaac? What's your confidence bait everywhere?
So if I had to just pick one, I'd say probably swim bait. I mean, there's just so many different ways you can fish it, rig it. It wasn't at a jig, but I'd probably pick swim bait.
Yeah, I think anywhere you go in the country, a fish is going to eat a smaller fish, so that's a good go-to.
Yeah.
Anthony Scott said, "Don't expose all the secrets. It's a trap question." Okay, and if you had to have, for anybody listening, young or old, one piece of advice to give somebody, it could be a life advice, it could be fishing advice, it could be anything, literally anything. What would it be?
This sounds very broad spectrum. This is something that I've kind of lived by is don't do something you're going to regret, but don't regret not doing something. So, I mean, if you have dreams, you have goals, you have aspirations of getting out and play country music, fish professionally, hunt whatever. If you got dreams to do something, go after it. Enjoy the ride. That's the biggest part.
That's good. Just go with it.
Right.
What about you, Isaac? What's your piece of advice?
Mine probably you get out of it what you put into it. You can't replace hard work. I always feel like the harder you work, the luckier you get, and that's
I like that.
fishing side of things. I don't I don't want to ever be outworked.
Yeah, no doubt. You
Yeah.
gotta
Any chance
definitely,
to go or learn, I want to go. So
absolutely. You definitely have to put in the work, and I think you guys are going to do well this season. And I'm excited because I know 4 or 5 of you guys that are fishing. So it's I have some people I actually know that are going to be fishing at a pretty high level. So I'm excited to keep up with you guys, and I'm sure everybody else watching this too. It's been great. This is a top 2 podcast, no doubt. It's been fun. Thank you everybody for watching. This is it's been good. Everybody's been commenting and asking questions. It's been fun. Thank you both for coming on the podcast. It's been, I feel like I've said 100 times, but it's been good. It's been really good.
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, this is true. My dad said, "I'll do whatever it takes to chase down the Pickett County boys." Yes, we will. They're always giving it to us on Del Hollow, but we're gonna try and make up for it here in the next couple tournaments. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you, Mr. Wade and Isaac, for coming on the podcast. We won't be back next week. We've got some plans Monday. Sadly, won't be able to have a podcast Monday, but we'll have some. I talked about it at the beginning of the podcast today, but news with the extra money from the auction that we did. Be posting about that later this week, so make sure you're watching the page. Keep it up with that. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.